Could a fruit you've eaten for decades be quietly raising your risk of stroke while you sleep? Every year I see older adults come into the ER, confused, dizzy, or suddenly unable to speak, and they never saw it coming. Not from smoking, not from junk food, but from a simple fruit they thought was helping their heart. In this video, I'll walk you through 9 healthy fruits that might be damaging your brain, raising your blood sugar, or interfering with your medications, and exactly how to eat them safely starting today. Don't ignore this. What you snack on tonight could affect your memory, your balance, even your independence tomorrow. Before we begin, I'd love to know, where are you watching from and what time is it right now? Drop a quick hope in the comments to let me know you're here and staying strong. And if you find this helpful, hit subscribe so you never miss simple life-saving tips made just for you. Now let's dive in, and this first fruit might shock you. What used to be safe at 40 might be risky at 70. That's a tough truth most people don't talk about. You see, the older we get, the more quietly our bodies change, and not always in ways we can feel right away. You might still enjoy your morning orange juice, your evening banana, or that big slice of watermelon after a hot summer walk in Georgia. It feels natural. It feels like you're doing something good for yourself. But what if I told you that your body may no longer be processing those healthy foods the way it used to? Let me tell you about a sweet man I met last year, Mr. Charles, 79, from Amarillo, Texas. He's a retired high school coach, still sharp, still mowing his own lawn. Every evening he'd have a banana and a handful of grapes before bed. One morning he woke up dizzy, couldn't find his balance, and couldn't finish a sentence. He'd had a mild stroke in his sleep. Now Charles didn't smoke. He wasn't overweight. He ate clean, as he liked to say. But his kidneys weren't filtering like they did 20 years ago. The potassium from those bananas. His body couldn't clear it, and the sugar from the grapes, it spiked his blood sugar late at night when his circulation was already slowing. According to the Cleveland Clinic, adults over 65 are 5 times more likely to have a stroke when they combine certain medications, blood sugar issues, and healthy foods that no longer match their aging system. The kidneys slow down. The liver takes longer to process medications. The tiny blood vessels in the brain get more fragile, and insulin, the hormone that helps manage sugar, becomes less efficient. The result, your blood can thicken, sugar can linger too long, and even a little fruit eaten at the wrong time can quietly raise your risk. Now, I'm not here to scare you. You don't need to stop eating fruit. You just need to eat smarter. For example, instead of eating a whole banana at night, try half a banana in the morning with Greek yogurt or a few almonds. That way your body digests it more slowly, you stay fuller longer, and you avoid those late-night sugar and potassium spikes. If you take medications for blood pressure, heart rhythm, or diabetes, talk with your doctor about how foods like oranges, mangoes, or even cherries may interact. They may seem harmless, but your body at 70 doesn't handle them like it did at 40. You've lived through so much. You've earned the right to understand your body deeply and care for it wisely. And if this helped you see fruit differently, not as the enemy, but as something to respect, leave a comment below with the word hope. Because with the right timing and small changes, you can eat well, stay sharp, and live strong on your own terms. Let's move on. The next fruit we'll talk about might just be sitting in your fridge right now. Mistake number 1 might surprise you. It's the banana. Now, most folks I talk to think bananas are one of the healthiest fruits out there. Soft, easy to chew, full of potassium, they've been called heart-friendly for decades. And that's true, if you're 25 running marathons and not on any medications. But if you're over 65 taking pills for high blood pressure, or your heart, this little fruit can become a quiet threat. Let me tell you about Mr. Joe Miller from Asheville, North Carolina. He's 72, a retired truck driver, strong and stubborn in all the best ways. Joe's morning routine was as American as it gets: oatmeal, one sliced banana, and a tall glass of orange juice with his meds. But one morning, Joe's wife found him slumped in the hallway. He was conscious but couldn't move his left arm. His speech was slurred. The ER team found his potassium levels were dangerously high. It turned out the combination of his daily banana and his blood pressure pills had pushed his body out of balance. He had suffered a small stroke, one that could have been avoided. You see, as we age, our kidneys slow down. They don't filter things like potassium as efficiently, and potassium, while essential in the right amount, becomes harmful when it builds up in your bloodstream. It can cause irregular heart rhythms, tighter blood vessels, and worst of all, blood clots. And if that clot reaches your brain while you sleep, it can block oxygen and shut things down fast. What makes it tricky is that you don't feel anything at first. You might just notice more fatigue, muscle twitching, or some dizziness, things that are easy to brush off. But inside your body, something bigger may be building. According to Mayo Clinic, seniors who take ACE inhibitors or water pills, diuretics, are especially at risk. These medications already change how your body handles potassium, and adding a full banana, or even worse, a smoothie packed with two, can quietly tip the scale. But don't worry, you don't have to give up bananas forever. There's a better, safer way. Here's what I recommend to most of my older patients. Just half a banana in the morning, paired with a protein like Greek yogurt or a spoonful of peanut butter. That helps your body absorb the potassium more slowly and keeps your blood sugar steady too. Avoid banana bread and banana smoothies unless you know exactly how much is going in, and definitely skip them at night. Your body is slower at processing things in the evening, and bedtime is the worst time for blood sugar or potassium to spike. And if you take heart or blood pressure medications, ask your doctor how much potassium you should aim for each day. It's a simple question that could protect your memory, your balance, and your independence. I know it's strange to think a fruit you've trusted for 60 years might not be safe anymore, but aging doesn't mean giving things up. It means doing them smarter. So next time you peel a banana, just pause. Think of Joe in Asheville. Think of your heart. And if this made you feel seen or helped you think differently, drop the word hope in the comments. Because knowledge like this doesn't just add years, it adds freedom. Now, the next fruit we're about to talk about is even smaller, but it carries a sugar punch you won't believe. Stay with me. Now, mistake number 2 looks so innocent, but it's sweet, slippery, and sneaky. I'm talking about grapes. You've probably had grapes your whole life. Maybe after Sunday lunch with your grandkids. Maybe as a snack while reading the paper or watching the 5 o'clock news. They feel so harmless, don't they? No peeling, no mess. Just a handful of cold, juicy grapes from the fridge on a warm afternoon in Missouri. It feels like the perfect little treat. But for many older adults, especially if you have blood sugar issues or take heart medication, that small bowl of grapes might be doing more harm than good. I'll tell you about Miss Jeanette Morris, age 80, from Springfield. She's a retired school teacher, sharp as a tack, and she prides herself on living naturally. She doesn't touch soda or processed sweets. She reaches for fruit. Her favorite, red grapes. Big, seedless, sweet. She'd eat a bowl mid-morning while doing her crossword. But a few months ago, while writing a birthday card, her hands started trembling. Her vision blurred. She couldn't remember the word congratulations. Her daughter rushed her to the hospital, and yes, it was a mini stroke. Her blood work showed sharp midday sugar spikes, and her A1C, that's your long-term blood sugar level, had crept into pre-diabetic range. She had no idea. See, grapes are packed with natural sugar, glucose, and fructose, and they digest very fast. That means sugar rushes into your bloodstream all at once. And if your blood vessels are already more fragile, which they usually are after 65, that sugar spike can trigger inflammation inside those delicate walls. The lining of the vessels becomes irritated, then stiff. Tiny tears can form. and that's where blood clots begin to grow. The scary part, you don't feel a thing. No pain, no warning. It's silent until one day it's not. Now, I'm not saying you have to give up grapes forever, but you do need to eat them differently smarter. Here's what I recommend: never eat grapes on an empty stomach. Always pair them with protein or healthy fat like a few almonds, a slice of cheese, or a spoonful of Greek yogurt. And instead of eating by the bowl, measure out a small handful. That's it. And always eat fruit like this during the day when your body's more active and able to use that sugar for energy, not at night when it just lingers in your bloodstream. If you're diabetic or taking blood pressure meds, talk to your doctor before making grapes a daily habit. Because even something natural can backfire when your body's older, slower, and juggling multiple medications. It's not about fear. It's about respect for your age, your body, and your journey. So next time you grab grapes from the fridge, just pause. Take 5. Ask yourself, am I helping my brain right now, or quietly working against it? If this helped you rethink how you snack, type the word hope in the comments. That one word tells me you're here, you're listening, and you're choosing to stay sharp, strong, and steady. Now, coming up next, we've got a tropical fruit that tastes like sunshine, but might be causing midnight chaos in your bloodstream. Don't go anywhere. Now, mistake number 3 might surprise you because it tastes like vacation in a bowl. I'm talking about pineapple. It's sweet, tropical, and smells like summer. You see it in fruit salads, smoothies, and even on the side of Sunday brunch at diners across Florida and California. And let's be honest, after 65, we tend to trust fruit more than processed snacks. It feels safe, clean, natural. But here's what most folks don't realize for older adults, especially those on blood thinners or heart meds. Pineapple isn't always your friend. Let me tell you about Mr. Hal Peterson, 78, from Savannah, Georgia. Hal's been living on his own since his wife passed. Keeps things simple, toast eggs, and every night before bed, he'd cut up a few chunks of pineapple. Said it helped his digestion and it made him feel fresh. But one morning, Hal woke up with deep purple bruises on his arms and legs, and he hadn't bumped into anything. He brushed it off at first until his gums started bleeding when he brushed his teeth. That got his attention. Turns out the bromelain in pineapple, that's a natural enzyme, can thin the blood and interfere with how platelets work. And Hal had been taking warfarin, a blood thinner for his heart. The two together, not a good mix. Here's the thing, bromelain isn't bad by itself. In fact, it can help reduce inflammation and improve digestion. But when you're older and your blood vessels are more fragile, or you're already on medication, this combo can tip the balance. Too much bromelain could lead to bruising, or worse, it could swing the other way and mess with your platelets, leading to blood clots when you least expect it. According to articles from Harvard Health and Cleveland Clinic, even foods that seem innocent like pineapple can interfere with blood pressure or clotting medications, especially if eaten too often or too close to bedtime. So what can you do? You don't have to cut pineapple out completely, but here's what works better. Enjoy it in the morning when your body's most active and digestion is strongest. Have it alongside some protein, like a slice of turkey or a boiled egg, so it doesn't hit your system too fast. And if you're on blood thinners, talk to your doctor before making pineapple a regular part of your evening snack. Also pay attention to your body. If you notice bruising, nosebleeds, or your gums bleed more than usual, don't ignore it. Your body is whispering, maybe even shouting, that something's off. What I love about this solution is it's not about giving up things you enjoy. It's about timing, balance, respecting how your body has changed over the years. So next time you see a pineapple in the grocery store, maybe at a Publix in Florida or a Ralph's out west, just remember it's a fruit with power. Handle it with care. If this helped you rethink your nighttime snacks, drop the word balance in the comments. That tells me you're paying attention to your body and choosing to age with wisdom. Coming up next, we'll talk about another fruit that looks healthy, but might be messing with your bladder at night. Stay with me. Now here's mistake number 4, and it's one most people would never guess. It's watermelon. Yep, that sweet, juicy slice of summer we all love. Whether you're at a July 4th picnic in Ohio or picking one up at a roadside stand in Alabama, watermelon just feels like a healthy choice, especially when it's hot out. And it is refreshing. But here's the thing. For older adults, eating too much watermelon, especially in the evening, can do more harm than good. Let me tell you about Miss Carol 72 from Tucson, Arizona. Carol's always been health conscious, walks every morning, drinks her herbal teas, and every night around 8:30, she'd enjoy a cold bowl of chopped watermelon. She said it helped her stay hydrated. And after all, it's mostly water, right? But then came the nighttime bathroom trips. First at 11 p.m., then again at 2, and sometimes even 4 a.m. She thought it was just age until one night she stood up too fast and nearly fainted. Her blood pressure had dropped during sleep and her legs felt like jelly. Here's what was really going on. Watermelon is a powerful natural diuretic. That means it makes you pee more. And when you're older, your body holds on to water differently. You lose fluids faster, especially overnight, when you're not drinking, but still losing moisture through breathing and sweat. Too much watermelon late in the day flushes out your electrolytes. That's things like sodium and potassium, the stuff your heart and nerves need to keep steady. Without enough of them, your blood gets thicker, your pressure can drop, and your brain gets less oxygen while you sleep. Harvard Health and Mayo Clinic both mention how nighttime dehydration can increase fall risk and even trigger mild confusion or fatigue in older adults. And it's not the amount of water alone, it's how it affects your balance inside. Now here's the good news, you don't have to give up watermelon. Just shift it to earlier in the day before 3 p.m. is ideal. And when you eat it, don't eat it all by itself. Add a few roasted cashews or a tiny sprinkle of sea salt. This combo helps your body hold on to the right minerals so you don't lose them all at once. It also slows down how quickly the water moves through you, so you're not running to the bathroom all night long. And Carol, once she made the change, no more nighttime trips. She said she finally woke up rested again. A small shift, big difference. So if you've been reaching for cold watermelon before bed, thinking it's a healthy habit, now you know. Your heart, your blood pressure, and your bladder will all thank you for moving that snack to earlier in the day. And hey, if this tip helped you, just comment the word peaceful down below. Because a full night's sleep is a gift we all deserve, especially after 65. Up next, we'll talk about another fruit that sounds healthy, but maybe stirring up more trouble than you realize. Stick around. And finally, mistake number 5 might surprise you because it comes from something we all think is healthy citrus fruits. Oranges, grapefruits, tangerines. They're colorful, fresh, and remind us of breakfast at a sunny diner in Florida or those big fruit baskets we used to send for the holidays. And the truth is, citrus fruits are full of vitamin C and antioxidants. But if you're taking certain heart medications like statins for cholesterol or amlodipine for high blood pressure, citrus, especially grapefruit and even orange juice, can quietly cause trouble. Let me tell you about Mr. Frank from Tallahassee. He's 76, a retired math teacher, sweet as can be. Every morning for years, he'd squeeze fresh orange juice, said it reminded him of summers at his grandma's house. Then last fall, he started feeling off. Dizzy spells. His legs felt heavy. He thought it was just aging, but it turned out his heart meds were building up too much in his system. Turns out citrus contains something called furanocoumarins. Don't worry, I won't quiz you on that. But these natural compounds slow down how your liver breaks down certain medications. So instead of flushing out properly, the medicine stays in your body longer than it should. The FDA has actually issued several warnings about this, especially for grapefruit juice. Even just one glass can change how your medication works, and for many seniors, the danger is that this buildup doesn't happen all at once. It creeps in slowly. That's why you might not feel it right away. But over weeks or months, you might notice side effects like slower heart rate, swelling in your ankles, or strange fatigue. And the tricky part is most folks never connect it back to that morning juice. So what can you do? You don't have to give up citrus entirely. A few slices of fresh orange in the morning is just fine, especially if you're not taking one of those meds. But if you're on any heart medication, cholesterol pills, or even some anti-anxiety drugs, it's worth asking your doctor. Even the Mayo Clinic suggests checking labels or switching to other fruits like berries or apples. And remember, you can still enjoy the flavor of citrus. Try a little zest in your water or salad dressing, but skip the big glass of juice, especially if you're drinking it daily. Frank made the switch after talking to his pharmacist. Now he still gets that bright, sunny taste, just in smaller bites. And more importantly, his blood pressure's steady, his legs feel stronger, and he sleeps better too. So if you've been sipping on orange juice thinking it's always the healthy choice, now you know. It's healthy for some, but not for everyone. You deserve to know the difference. And if this tip made you pause and think, drop the word aware in the comments. Sometimes it's not about giving things up. It's just about knowing how they work in our bodies after 65. In the next part, we'll dive into a soothing food that actually helps your sleep and supports your heart. Stick with me. Mistake number 6. It's hiding in plain sight in that shiny sweet apple you thought was the healthiest choice. Now don't get me wrong, apples are a great snack. They're easy to chew, travel well, and feel like an all-American comfort food. Whether it's apple pie at Thanksgiving or picking Honeycrisp at an orchard in Michigan, they're part of our lives. But here's something most folks over 65 don't realize: those sweet apples like Fuji or Honeycrisp can spike your blood sugar. Not as fast as candy, sure, but fast enough to cause a roller coaster in your body if you're not careful. I think about my neighbor, Mrs. Dottie from Roanoke, Virginia. She's 79, lives alone, but still bakes her own bread. She told me she loved having a Honeycrisp apple at night before bed. It helps me sleep, she'd say. But then she started waking up drenched in sweat, heart racing. Thought it was her meds or maybe her heart. Turns out her blood sugar was swinging up and down. That sweet apple was giving her a big sugar hit, then crashing her right as she slept. See, the natural sugars in apples are still sugar. According to Harvard Health, some varieties, especially Honeycrisp and Fuji, can have 17 to 20 grams of sugar in one medium apple. That's nearly the same as a small candy bar. And when we get older, our bodies process sugar more slowly. Even if you're not diabetic, those swings can mess with your energy, mood, and even memory. Plus, big sugar spikes followed by sudden drops can leave you feeling tired, foggy, or even shaky. But here's the good news. You don't have to give up apples. Just get smart about which apples you're eating and how you eat them. Granny Smith apples are a great choice. They're more tart, lower in sugar, and they don't spike blood sugar the same way. And here's a trick I use myself: pair your apple with a spoon of almond butter or a handful of walnuts. That little bit of healthy fat helps slow the sugar from rushing into your system. According to Mayo Clinic, pairing carbs with fat or protein makes a big difference for blood sugar control. So next time you reach for that shiny sweet apple, pause. Think about how your body's going to handle it, especially at night. Swap it for a tart Granny Smith and a little nut butter. You'll still get that satisfying crunch and sweetness, but without the sugar spike. And just like that, you've made one small change that protects your heart, your brain, and your sleep. If that's something you care about, and I know you do, drop the word steady in the comments. Because in this season of life, what we're all looking for isn't perfection, it's balance. Coming up next, I'll show you a surprising bedtime drink that can calm your nerves and support your blood sugar overnight. Stay with me. Mistake number 7 might feel surprising because it involves one of the sweetest, most innocent fruits of summer: cherries. Now I know what you're thinking. Cherries are small, natural, and loaded with antioxidants. You've probably heard they help with arthritis and even sleep. And yes, all of that is true. But here's the part most folks don't know, especially folks our age who are on heart medications. Eating too many cherries, especially if you drink tart cherry juice or use concentrates, can thin your blood too much. And that can get risky if you're already taking something like aspirin, warfarin, or any blood thinner. Let me tell you about my Uncle Dave in Minnesota. He's 76, retired carpenter, still builds birdhouses in his garage when the weather's nice. He started drinking tart cherry juice every night, heard it was great for joint pain. And at first it did help. His knees didn't feel as stiff in the morning. But then one day he got a strange headache that wouldn't go away. And then some light bruising started showing up on his arms, even though he hadn't bumped into anything. His doctor checked his INR levels. Turns out his blood was way too thin. They traced it back to the cherry juice. See, cherries naturally contain compounds that can act like mild blood thinners. And when combined with real medications, it doesn't just add up, it multiplies. According to the Cleveland Clinic, this interaction can quietly raise the risk of internal bleeding, even in the brain. And it's not just juice. Even fresh cherries, when eaten in large amounts, especially out of season, when they're extra ripe and sweet, can push your system further than it needs. The real danger: you won't feel anything until something serious happens. But don't worry, that doesn't mean you need to swear off cherries forever. They can still be part of a healthy, balanced diet if you're mindful. A few cherries after lunch. That's fine. Just avoid large glasses of cherry juice or those concentrated supplements unless your doctor says it's safe. And if you're taking blood thinners, even over-the-counter aspirin, it's worth bringing up at your next visit. A quick conversation can save you a world of trouble. There's also a simple way to enjoy cherries more safely. Pair them with a bit of protein or fat. A small handful of unsalted almonds or a cube of cheese alongside slows the absorption, helps your body manage the effects better. Plus, it makes a pretty satisfying snack, especially in the summer. So next time you stroll past that box of Washington cherries at your local Kroger or Trader Joe's, pause. Pick a few, enjoy the moment, but don't overdo it. Your body is doing its best to keep you safe. A little help from you goes a long way. If this reminded you of something you've done or someone you know who loves cherry juice, type the word balance in the comments. Because staying healthy at our age isn't about cutting things out. It's about finding what enough looks like for your body, your meds, and your peace of mind. And coming up next, I'll tell you about one healthy bedtime snack that's actually stealing your deep sleep. Stick around. Mistake number 8 might surprise you because it's wrapped in red sweet and looks completely harmless. I'm talking about strawberries. Now I know, strawberries feel like the friendliest fruit in the world. They show up at every summer picnic in Ohio, in every Jell-O mold your grandkids bring, and on top of pancakes at your favorite diner. They feel fresh, healthy, light. What could go wrong? Well, here's the thing. Most folks over 65 aren't told. Strawberries, especially the regular kind you find at big grocery stores, are loaded with pesticide residue. According to the Environmental Working Group, strawberries have topped the Dirty Dozen list year after year for having the highest amount of chemical pesticides. But that's not the only concern. Strawberries are also naturally high in a compound called purines. Now I know that's not a word we use over coffee, but stay with me. When your body breaks down purines, it produces something called uric acid. And too much uric acid. That's what causes gout flare-ups, painful inflammation, and over time it may even damage the tiny blood vessels in your brain. Let me tell you about Jim, a neighbor of mine in Spokane. He's 72, used to be a high school math teacher, and swears by morning walks and a bowl of strawberries. Well, he was eating them every day, figured they were better than donuts, right? But then he started waking up with stiff, swollen fingers. His knees flared up too. Turned out it wasn't just old age or arthritis. His uric acid was sky high, and the doctor gently told him those healthy strawberries weren't doing him any favors. Now, don't get me wrong, strawberries aren't poison, but like most things, it's about how much, how often, and which kind. If you enjoy strawberries, here's what I suggest. First, always go organic when you can. Yes, I know they cost a bit more, but honestly, if you're only eating them once or twice a week, the extra couple of dollars is worth not soaking your body in invisible chemicals. Washing them isn't enough. Some pesticides sink in during growing. Second, treat strawberries like a treat, not a daily ritual. They're lovely on Sundays or in a little bowl with cottage cheese now and then. But if you're eating them every morning like cereal, that's too much. Also, if you've had gout joint pain, or if you're on medications that affect your kidneys, ask your doctor. They might help you figure out safer fruits or better timing. And here's a small tip that goes a long way. Balance your fruit with something that helps your blood sugar stay steady. A few walnuts or a spoon of Greek yogurt can help keep the body from overreacting. Small changes like that can make all the difference over time. So the next time you see that perfect carton of red strawberries at Walmart or Whole Foods, think of it like you would cake. Nice once in a while, but not every day. If you've ever had a healthy food backfire on, you leave a comment and type the word aware below. Because the more we share, the smarter we all get about aging well. And coming up next, let's talk about one fruit that helps balance uric acid and inflammation. You won't want to miss it. Mistake number 9 might sound tropical and harmless, but it can sneak up on your blood sugar and liver without you knowing. I'm talking about mangoes. Sweet, juicy, golden mangoes. Now look, I get it. Mangoes feel like summer. They remind you of beach trips in Florida or that fruit salad your grandkids brought to Sunday lunch. They're soft, fragrant, and taste like sunshine. But here's the thing, most older adults don't hear from their doctors. Mangoes are one of the highest sugar fruits out there. A single mango can have 45 grams of sugar. That's more than a can of Coke. And for folks over 65, especially if you're managing diabetes, high blood pressure, or liver issues, that much sugar can cause a lot more harm than good. I remember talking with Mrs. Bernice from El Paso. She's 68, sweet as pie, and proud of the mango trees in her backyard. She told me she'd have a big bowl of mango slices every evening after dinner, thinking it was a healthy habit. But her fasting blood sugar started creeping up. Her doctor upped her meds. She was frustrated doing everything right, but still not feeling better. Turns out that daily mango treat was pushing her blood sugar through the roof overnight. Worse, too much fructose, the natural sugar in mango, can stress your liver. If you're taking heart meds or statins, your liver's already working overtime. Too much sugar slows down how well those medications work. And dried mango. Oh, don't get me started. That stuff is like candy with a health halo. Just a small handful can pack in 30 grams of sugar. It's not fruit anymore, it's dessert. But here's the good news. You don't have to give mangoes up completely. If you love them, enjoy 3 to 4 thin slices. Have them in the morning when your body's more active and better able to process sugar. And always pair them with something that slows the spike, like a tablespoon of unsweetened Greek yogurt or a handful of almonds. Also, watch how often you're having them. Once or twice a week is plenty. Think of mango like birthday cake, special, delicious, but not meant for every day. If you've ever felt confused about healthy fruits, you're not alone. Magazines, TV shows, and even doctors don't always tell the full story. But here's the truth, after 60, your body changes. The foods that once helped you might now hold you back. You don't need to fear them, but you do need to understand them. If this helped you rethink something small, type the word aware in the comments. I read everyone. And up next, we'll talk about one fruit that helps your liver instead of fighting it. So stay with me, we're just getting started. Let's talk about something sweet today, fruits. But not just any fruits. I mean the kind that your brain and your heart quietly thank you for. You see, after 65, it's not just about eating less sugar or cutting fat. It's about feeding the parts of us that keep us sharp, steady, and full of life. Now, mistake number 5 that many older adults make is skipping the fruits that are actually good for the brain just because they think fruit equals sugar. But not all fruits are created equal. I want to tell you about a few that are especially powerful, backed by places like Harvard and Mayo Clinic. These aren't exotic. You'll find them at the grocery store, maybe even at your local farmer's market in Ohio or North Carolina. Let's start with a classic, blueberries. You've probably heard about them. They're tiny, they're sweet, and they look harmless. But inside, they hold something mighty, anthocyanins. That's what gives them that deep blue color. But what it does inside your body is what's truly magical. I once met Mr. Roy, a retired music teacher from Vermont. He told me he had trouble recalling his piano students' names, something that never used to happen. He started adding a small handful of blueberries to his oatmeal every morning. Within months, he didn't feel like his brain was in a fog anymore. He wasn't suddenly a genius, but he felt more awake, more with it. Science supports that. Blueberries help reduce the stress that builds up in our blood vessels and brains. Harvard calls them one of the top brain-preserving foods. They improve memory and may slow age-related decline. The trick: eat them regularly, just a small handful a day. Fresh or frozen, both work fine. But don't overdo it with blueberry juice, too much sugar. Next is a fruit many folks avoid because of its fat content: avocado. Yes, it's rich. Yes, it has calories. But it's also packed with the kind of fat your brain and blood pressure love. The monounsaturated fat helps your heart pump smoothly, and it helps your body absorb vitamins from other foods. I remember Clara, 71, from Tucson, who told me she cut out all fats, including avocado, thinking it would help her cholesterol. Her energy dropped. Her skin got dry. A dietitian gently nudged her to bring back just half an avocado a day. Her blood pressure stabilized. She said her toast finally tasted like joy again. Avocados also have potassium more than bananas, which helps balance out the effects of sodium and supports healthy blood flow to the brain. Try half an avocado with eggs or mashed on whole grain toast. Don't fear the fat, it's the right kind. Now let's talk about an unexpected hero, Granny Smith apples. These bright green beauties aren't as sweet as the red ones, and that's exactly why they're good for you. They're low in sugar and high in flavonoids, compounds that calm inflammation, especially in the blood vessels. That means less stress on your brain and heart. One of my neighbors, Edna from Missouri, used to snack on cookies between lunch and dinner. When she switched to apple slices with almond butter, her blood sugar got more stable, and she didn't have those 3 p.m. crashes anymore. Plus, Granny Smith apples are crunchy. That chewing, it keeps your jaw strong and can even help wake up your mind. We don't think about it often, but chewing is part of staying alert. Give it a try. Slice one up, pair it with a few nuts or a dollop of peanut butter. It's a snack that loves you back. Lime. Yes, the humble lime. You might think, what can a little green fruit really do? But don't underestimate it. Lime juice helps your liver clean out toxins and helps your body absorb minerals like calcium and magnesium, vital for strong bones and a calm nervous system. It's also gentle. Unlike grapefruit, lime doesn't mess with most heart medications. That's a big plus if you're on blood thinners or blood pressure meds. Mrs. Helen from Tallahassee told me her daughter got her into the habit of squeezing lime into her water each morning. At first, she thought it was just for flavor, but after a month, she noticed less bloating and better digestion. If plain water bores you, this might be your trick. And when life gives you limes, add them to your salad dressings over grilled veggies or even in tea. And finally, let's not forget about pomegranate. This one's a little tricky because it's rich in natural sugar, but it also packs one of the strongest anti-inflammatory punches in the fruit world thanks to polyphenols. The key is to use it the right way. Too much pomegranate juice isn't great, especially if you're watching blood sugar, but a small splash, say 2 ounces diluted in water, is wonderful. Or a few seeds sprinkled over yogurt. There's a story from a gentleman named Howard, 68, in Portland. He had early signs of vascular inflammation. His doctor said the tiny vessels in his brain weren't working as well. Howard started adding diluted pomegranate juice a few times a week. Combined with more walking and less processed food, his next scan looked better. Now, of course, it's not magic, but it's support, natural, gentle support. So what do all these fruits have in common? They're not about weight loss. They're about brain clarity, steady blood pressure, and reducing the silent inflammation that ages us from the inside out. And the best part, they're available right here in America, in small towns like Bismarck, North Dakota, or big cities like Chicago. No fancy powders, no expensive pills, just nature doing what it does best. If you've ever stood in the produce aisle and wondered what's really worth putting in your cart now, you know. You don't need to overhaul your entire diet. Just add one of these fruits a day. That's it. Start with blueberries this week. Next week, try the avocado. Your brain doesn't need miracles. It needs small, steady kindness, served one fruit at a time. So tell me, which one will you try tomorrow? Leave a comment, I'd love to know. And if you found this helpful, pass it on to a friend or your grandkids. Good health is something worth sharing. Let's talk about something sweet, simple, and surprisingly powerful: fruit. Now I know what you might be thinking. Fruit, come on. I've been eating apples and bananas since grade school in Ohio. But the truth is, as we get older, how we eat fruit matters just as much as what kind we choose, especially after 60. I learned this the hard way with my Uncle Ray. He's 72 now, lives in a cozy little town outside of Kansas City. Great guy, still drives his old Chevy pickup to the farmer's market every Saturday. But last winter, he kept waking up at 3 a.m., feeling groggy and achy. Turns out he had been snacking on grapes and dried mangoes at night, thinking they were healthy treats. But those little late-night fruits were spiking his blood sugar and messing with his sleep. He didn't realize fruit could have that kind of effect after 60. And he's not alone. Many seniors still think, well, it's natural, so it must be safe any time of day. But our bodies change. Our digestion slows down. Blood sugar becomes more sensitive. And our medications. Some don't mix well with citrus or high-sugar fruits at all. So here's what we've learned and what you might want to try too. First rule, skip the bedtime fruit. I know it's tempting, especially when you're watching an old Western on TV and craving something sweet. But eating fruit before bed can cause your blood sugar to rise just as your body's trying to rest. You may not feel it right away, but over time it can affect your sleep, your memory, even your morning energy. Instead, shift your fruit earlier, think breakfast or lunch. That's when your body's more active and better at using that natural sugar as fuel. Second tip, always pair your fruit with a little protein or healthy fat. This one changed Uncle Ray's mornings. Now, instead of just half a banana, he sprinkles in a spoonful of chia seeds. Those tiny seeds help slow digestion, add fiber, and give him omega-3s for his heart. At lunch, he'll toss a handful of blueberries into a small bowl and add a scoop of almond butter on the side. Tastes great, keeps his energy steady, and doesn't leave him feeling hungry an hour later. In the afternoon, he slices up a Granny Smith apple, that tart green kind, and has it with a piece of sharp cheddar cheese. Just one slice. That combination of fiber and protein helps balance out the sugars, keeps his brain clear for the crossword puzzle. Even the Mayo Clinic recommends this kind of approach, combining fruit with protein or fat to reduce blood sugar spikes and help your body absorb vitamins more effectively. And here's another gentle reminder: don't take your medications with fruit unless your doctor says it's okay. Some fruits like grapefruit or lime can interfere with heart medications and blood pressure pills. Even natural sugars can shift how your meds are absorbed. It's always better to take meds with water or a light meal that won't confuse your system. So what does a good fruit day look like for someone over 60? Well, you could start your morning with half a banana and a spoonful of chia. Just stir the seeds into a bit of warm oatmeal or plain Greek yogurt. Around noon, a few fresh blueberries, 5 to 7, is just fine with almond butter or even peanut butter on whole grain toast. And mid-afternoon, that green apple and a thin slice of real cheese. That's it. Simple. Nothing fancy. You're still getting your antioxidants. You're still feeding your brain and protecting your heart. But you're doing it in a way that works with your body, not against it. Because here's the truth: after 60, it's not about eating less. It's about eating smarter. Eating in rhythm with your body's needs, helping your liver, your brain, your joints, without needing a shelf full of supplements. And here's what I love most about this fruit plan: it doesn't cost much. You can find a banana and an apple for under $1 at any local grocery in Des Moines or Phoenix. Chia seeds, a small bag, lasts weeks, and a bit of cheese or nut butter is something most of us already have. So if you've ever felt foggy in the morning, or had restless nights, or worried that your memory's not as sharp as it used to be, look at your fruit. Not just what you eat, but when and how. Small changes can make a big difference. And the best part, you don't have to give up sweet things. Just shift the timing. Add a partner like protein or healthy fat. And stay curious about how your body feels after. Because your health doesn't have to feel complicated. It can be as easy and as sweet as a slice of green apple with a little cheese, enjoyed slowly on your front porch. Now that's the kind of aging we all deserve. Would you give that a try tomorrow? It's just a banana. How could that hurt? That's exactly what my Aunt Dora said one morning in Springfield, Missouri, while popping her blood pressure pill with a glass of water and half a banana. She was 72, sharp as a tack, and never missed a day of her morning routine. But a few weeks later, she ended up in the ER with a flutter in her chest and muscle weakness. Turns out that harmless banana, when taken alongside her diuretic, had caused her potassium levels to spike. And she's not alone. According to Harvard Medical School, about 40% of older adults in the U.S. take 5 or more prescription medications every single day, and nearly 1/3 of them are at risk of food-drug interactions, especially with fruits that seem totally innocent. Now, don't get me wrong, fruit is wonderful. It's loaded with vitamins, fiber, antioxidants, all the things we've been told to eat more of. But not every fruit plays nice with your medicine. Take grapefruit, for instance. It looks so pretty sliced up in a salad. But for folks on statins, blood pressure meds, or certain heart drugs, grapefruit can block an enzyme in your gut that normally helps break down medication. That means the drug stays in your system longer too long, and that can lead to muscle pain, liver trouble, or worse. Same story with pomegranate. It's rich in antioxidants, sure, but just like grapefruit, it can raise the levels of certain drugs to unsafe zones. I once spoke to Mr. Harold from Tucson, Arizona, an 80-year-old vet who loved his daily glass of pomegranate juice. He had no idea it was interacting with his beta blocker until his heart rate dipped dangerously low. His doctor caught it just in time. Now let's talk about bananas again. They're gentle on the stomach, easy to chew, and full of potassium. But if you're taking ACE inhibitors or diuretics for high blood pressure or heart failure, too much potassium from bananas can be dangerous. It might cause your heart to beat irregularly or even stop beating. I know that sounds scary, but knowledge is power. Then there's cherries and strawberries. They sound safe, right? But these fruits contain natural compounds that thin the blood, just like aspirin does. If you're already taking aspirin daily, combining it with too many of these fruits might increase the risk of internal bleeding, especially in the brain. That's not something any of us want to play around with. Now, I'm not saying you should give up fruit. Far from it. But I am saying talk to your doctor or pharmacist, especially if you take regular meds and love your citrus or berries. Here's something simple you can do. Keep a little fruit journal. Jot down what you eat in the morning, afternoon, and evening. And write down your medications too. You'd be surprised how often timing plays a role. For example, taking your pill first, then waiting an hour before eating certain fruits might reduce the risk of interaction. Also, next time you pick up your prescription, ask, is there anything I should avoid eating with this? It's a small question, but it can save you a world of trouble. And let's not forget, many of us grew up in a time when natural meant safe. But even natural foods can affect our bodies differently as we age, especially when paired with modern medicine. So here's the big takeaway: not every healthy food is safe for every person, and that's okay. What matters most is making choices that fit your body, your meds, and your life. Let's be kind to our bodies. Let's stay curious, ask questions, and take care of ourselves the way we'd want someone to care for their own parents or grandparents. You deserve to feel good, to stay strong, and to live fully without unexpected side effects sneaking up on you from the fruit bowl. And if you've ever wondered, is this fruit okay with my medicine? That's the perfect time to call your doctor. They'll be glad you asked. So my friend, if there's one thing I hope you'll take away from today's talk, it's this. Don't fear fruit, just get to know it better. Understand how it works with your body, your age, and yes, even your medications. You don't need to give up the foods you love. You just need to choose them with the quiet wisdom you've earned over a lifetime. Because as we get older, our bodies ask for something new. Stability, not shock, not surprises, just steady energy, calm blood pressure, and peace of mind. The right food at the right time can help us stay in that zone of balance. You know, every small choice you make today, that piece of fruit at breakfast, that moment you stop to read a label, that question you ask your pharmacist, all of it becomes a kind of insurance. Not just for your heart or your liver, but for your memory, your clarity, and your independence. And here's a little something I heard once, and it stuck with me. At this age, we're not eating to survive. We're eating to remember our grandchildren's names. We're eating to stand tall when we get out of bed. We're eating to still feel like ourselves. If that hits home for you, if you're ready to protect your brain, your body, and your peace, go ahead and write "Still Me" in the comments. I'd love to see who's walking this path with me. Or just share one thing that stayed with you today. One little light bulb moment. Because when you share your voice, someone else, maybe someone your age, maybe someone you love, might hear exactly what they needed. If this video spoke to you, I hope you'll subscribe to the channel. Click that little bell icon so you won't miss what's coming next. And if you know someone, maybe a neighbor, your sister, or your old bowling buddy who could use a gentle reminder like this, send this their way. You could be the reason they sleep better tonight or avoid a simple mistake tomorrow. Before we part, let me leave you with a picture. Imagine yourself 5 years from now. You're standing in your kitchen, the sun's coming in through the window, your mind is clear, your hands are steady, and your heart is light because you've made little wise choices day by day that got you here. That version of you is possible, and it starts with something as small as the fruit on your plate. Take care of yourself. You're not done yet. You're still you, and you are so worth the effort.